Have you seen that movie with Tom Hanks called The Terminal? It was directed by Steven Spielberg about a man from a fictional country in, I think it was Eastern Europe or something. While he was flying to New York, his country went through a civil revolution and no longer was recognized as a country. So when he arrived in New York, they would not honor his visa and allow him into the country. Yet he couldn't go back home because the country was, in civil war. So he was stuck at the international terminal. An incredible movie because he didn't speak English. He had to learn English. He had to find a way to make money, to feed himself. And he was sleeping and showering and making friends for God knows how long. But surprisingly, this is happening in real life due to the COVID-19 crisis too. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rojo Reads the News. I have an interesting story here, and I was curious if this was happening anywhere in the world due to the COVID-19 and all the borders being shut down. And as an avid traveler, I know what it's like to be stuck in an international no-go zone for various reasons. And sure enough, it's happening. Check this out. This article comes from Panda Guides by Lillian Chung. The original source of this article was scmp.com. Destination nowhere, stuck for days, weeks, months at the Hong Kong airport. I've been to the Hong Kong airport many times. It's my primary hub, as it's just right across the bay from Zhongshan when I do travel. It is the second best airport that I've ever been to, Singapore being the best. But Hong Kong is... I feel very much at home when I'm in Hong Kong airport. I know it well. In scenes reminiscent to Tom Hanks' film The Terminal, a passenger has been stranded in Hong Kong International Airport for at least 3 months, one of several caught up in the transit restrictions introduced during the coronavirus crisis. Their plight emerged when 11 transit travelers who arrived in the city from Dubai to catch a connecting flight to mainland China were stuck in the airport for 5 days. A further 6 people remain in limbo in the international transit hub. They have all tested negative for the coronavirus, some relying on handouts from airlines and other sources of support until their situation can be resolved. Here is a rundown of their experiences and how the authorities have responded. I'm reading this for the first time with you guys. As part of Hong Kong's emergency response to the global health crisis, its airport transit services were suspended on March 25th. Only to resume on June 1st, but the mainland has remained off limits for transfers. Despite that prohibition, some passengers have been mistakenly allowed to board their flights. They include 11 Emirates customers who traveled from Dubai to Hong Kong with the intention of flying on to mainland China, and a mainlander arriving from the United Kingdom via British Airways to transfer home, who has been in the city's transit zone for 15 days as of Monday. The passenger stranded the longest landed in Hong Kong in March. Flying in from Canada, he had hoped to complete his journey to Vietnam. He remains in the confines of Hong Kong Airport's transit area. According to Cathay Pacific, his connection to Vietnam was canceled when the Southeast Asian country closed its borders to international flights. Restrictions on transit flights at Hong Kong Airport were not in effect at the time. The Dubai arrivals touched down in Hong Kong on June 21st, but it took 5 days for the airport authority to inform health officials that the passengers had shared the flight with 26 people previously confirmed as infected, in a case highlighting communication issues between the organizations. All of the maroon passengers have tested negative as of Monday, although they are yet to pass the 2-week incubation period for the virus. The various government departments are still discussing where to send the group of passengers once the 14-day quarantine has been completed. Since they do not hold a valid visa, they will most likely be sent back to Dubai or mainland China. This is interesting stuff, guys. The incident has sparked public concern over health risks posed by stranded passengers. As you can see here, a picture from the movie The Terminal. And you know what? I guarantee you this is not just happening in Hong Kong. I'm almost sure that there are many other airports in the world that similar situations are happening like this. If you know of any, send it to me and I'll read it on this channel. Cathay said it had notified the relevant authorities of the incident in March and had been trying to secure a flight for the passengers. For the British Airways passenger, the airline said their repeated offer to fly her back to Britain was refused. The airline has been providing her with meals and bedding. The authority said isolation facilities were now set up in the transit area so that such passengers could not come into contact with airport staff. The travelers would also undergo COVID-19 testing. The airport authority, which is responsible for the travel hub's operations, said it had clearly informed all airlines before the resumption of transit services that they must comply with the regulations. Those rules required airlines to ensure before boarding that passengers transferring through Hong Kong will be accepted at their final destination. That's true in all situations, even before coronavirus. It is the airline's responsibility to avoid passengers being stranded, the authority said, adding that in the latest cases, Emirates and British Airways had fallen foul of the relevant regulations. The authority said that they were taking the incidents very seriously and following up in conjunction with relevant government departments. You know, you would think that given the nature of what's going on, special circumstances, mistakes being made, either the airlines can work with the airport authority, do the relevant testing and quarantine, and allow certain exceptions to be made for people like this. The Civil Aviation Department has also written to Emirates requesting they provide its account of the incident. The airline has pledged to introduce measures to prevent a repeat of the incidents, while British Airways is still investigating why their passenger waiting to return to mainland China was allowed to board. Neither the authority nor CAD responded to questions on whether airlines would be penalized. However, an airport source confirmed they would be liable for fines. I'm curious what the fines are. I really want to know how much money they're going to have to pay in fines. The Immigration Department said only those with valid permits or visas could enter Hong Kong. It declined to comment on what kinds of permits those stranded passengers held. Yeah, it's a privacy issue. I can understand that. The Center for Health Protection said the 10 Emirates passengers might pose a health risk, so they were sent to quarantine. The 11th passenger decided to fly back to Dubai instead. Since early March, many countries have closed their borders to flights carrying overseas passengers, or even their own citizens, to contain COVID-19's spread. The move has caused a global phenomenon of stranded passengers. Yes, there he is. I want to know more. Oh, here we go. There's some more here. In Singapore, nearly 100 travelers arriving from the Philippines and Malaysia were stuck at Changi Airport in March after the city-state's government imposed travel restrictions on visitors coming from or through the ASEAN region. You know, as I said before, I love Hong Kong Airport, but Changi Airport in Singapore, if I'm going to be marooned or stranded in any airport, that's the one I would want to be stranded. They have a butterfly room. They have a free movie theater. It's truly an amazing place. You would go there to hang out. It's that comfortable at Changi. Some travelers were unable to return to India due to the border closures there. Singapore officials reportedly held 97 passengers with food and hygiene facilities until Singapore Airlines agreed to fly the stranded passengers back to India. Another widely reported case was a 23-year-old Ghanaian. Did I say that right? From Ghana, Ghanaian. I think that's the origin adjective. That's the first time I've actually had to read that. A Ghanaian footballer stuck in Mumbai airport in India for 74 days after his flights were canceled and his visa expired. Running out of money, Randy Juan Mueller was said to have relied on the help of the airport staff offering him food and daily necessities. He was fully allowed to move into a local hotel earlier this month and is waiting for airlines to resume flights. So, stuck in airports is one thing. I was once stuck at the Denver airport overnight and slept on the floor there, and that was not fun. Truth, when I first came to China, I had a connecting flight in Taipei, and the flight landed late, and I was supposed to get a connecting flight in the morning. Well, the Taipei airport closes in the middle of the night, so I was the only one in the international terminal wandering around, me and security, looking for a place to catch some Z's, and I had to very uncomfortably sleep on the floor next to the EVA Hello Kitty gate. I'll never forget it. And that was when I was first arriving, coming to China in 2015. Man, that was an experience. I can't imagine 74 days waiting at an airport terminal. Man. What do you think of this one? Comment below. Let me know.